The story begins in the early 1800s in the lush heartlands of present-day Imo State, in a village called Umuduroha. Life was simple. The people farmed, told stories by moonlight, and passed down custom from one generation to the next. Among them was a bright-eyed boy named Juboga. Jubo's childhood was abruptly cut short when he was captured. Some say sold into slavery. At just 12 years old, he was stripped from his family and taken in chains to the bustling port of Bonny in the Niger Delta. There, the air was thick with the scent of palm oil and the hum of trade with Europeans. Jubo became the property of Chief Madu, the leader of the Ana People House, one of Bonny's most powerful merchant families. While many slaves toiled and faded into history, Jubo quietly observed, learned, and waited. Within the Ana People House, Jubo showed an unusual intelligence and an unmatched work ethic. He learned the intricate details of trade, negotiation, and leadership. His loyalty earned him trust, and that trust earned him opportunities. Over time, Jubo rose to become a man of business, managing trade routes, organizing shipments of palm oil, and building alliances with local traders. Eventually, he brought his freedom, a rare and incredible feat. By the time he was in his early 30s, he had not only become a free man, but was now head of the very house he once served in bondage. He took on a new name, Jaja, and began forging his path as a major political and commercial power in Bonny. The kingdom of Bonny was riven by internal conflicts. The two dominant factions, the Ana People and the Manila People House, clashed over political control and trade dominance. Tensions reached a boiling point in 1869 when a civil war broke out. King Jaja, weary of the unrest and desiring independence, decided to lead his followers to a new land. Deep within the maze of the Imo River, they settled in a fertile and strategic area. There, Jaja founded a new kingdom, Opobo, named after an ancestor. He began building a powerful city-state from scratch. Opobo would be a sovereign land, free from foreign interference and Bonny's toxic politics. But above all, it would be a place where Africans control their own wealth. Under Jaja's firm yet wise leadership, Opobo became a flourishing trade center. He welcomed neighboring communities, built marketplaces, developed diplomatic ties, and ensured that all palm oil export passes through him. He refused to allow European middlemen to exploit his traders. Instead, he negotiated directly with British companies, maintaining control over prices and terms. This made him extremely wealthy and politically dangerous in the eyes of the British. Jaja ruled not only as a king but as a modern statesman. He employed secretaries, dispatched trade emissaries, and sent his sons abroad for Western education. He envisioned an African kingdom that could stand toe-to-toe with any power in the world. The British, who were expanding their colonial grip in West Africa, began to view Jaja as an obstacle to free trade, which in their eyes meant trade control by them. British merchants and officials grew increasingly frustrated with Jaja's insistence and independence. Despite mounting pressure, Jaja refused to back down, famously stating, "I am not a slave, but a king like the Queen of England." The British sent consuls and warships, issued threats, and manipulated local politics. Jaja stood firm, determined to protect his people and kingdom from colonial domination. His defiance made him a legend, but it also made him a target. In 1887, British officials invited Jaja to peace talks aboard a Royal Navy ship. He accepted, perhaps perhaps out of diplomacy, perhaps out of honor, but it was a trap. Once aboard, he was arrested and charged with obstructing trade. The British exiled him to the West Indies, far from his beloved Opobo. There, in the heat of a foreign land, the exiled king watched helplessly as colonial power took control of his kingdom. Despite his suffering, Jaja never gave up. He wrote letters to Queen Victoria, demanded justice, and pleaded to return home. His voice traveled across oceans, echoing with dignity and sorrow. In 1891, under pressure from African allies and sympathizers in Britain, the colonial authorities allowed King Jaja to return to Nigeria. His people rejoiced. The king was coming home, but fate had one last betrayal in store. While en route, Jaja died mysteriously in the Canary Islands. Rumors of poisoning spread, though no official cause was confirmed. His body was never returned, but his legacy lived on. King Jaja of Opobo became a symbol of African resistance, economic independence, and dignified leadership. His story was one of triumph over chains, sovereignty in the face of empire, and a dream of Africa ruled by Africans.